Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Jeremy B. Hill Show. For those that are on their way to becoming the best version of themselves, finding their own success, these are the real-life stories, the goods and the bad, the successes and the failures from those leaders who have made it and those that are still on the journey. Welcome to the show. Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome. So excited it is to bring a newfound friend. I've been a long-time admirer, but now a newfound friend of today's guest. And so, as one of the most renowned and exclusive jewelers in the country, the House of Molina has developed a near unparalleled reputation. Al Molina has been at the heart, soul, and passion of that reputation for nearly 30 years, and today I get to share a few minutes with him. Al, my friend, how are you? Great to have you.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. That's wonderful. Thank you for all those kind words, but it takes a whole village to be able to do what both of us have done in our lives, and that's strong and hard work.
Yeah, that is for sure. That is for sure. And it's so we get to connect in person. Recently when I was down in Scottsdale, and for those of you that listening, and the same story it is that I told Al is that I've been an admirer of yours for at least 20 years. I think all of us have these dreams and things that back in the day you'd cut pictures out of the magazine and put it on your bathroom mirror or your fridge or whatever it is that people do. It is that inspire them. And forever I have always heard about Alfredo Molina and Molina Jewelers as this is the place to where it is that families of influence and legacies from movies and actors to who knows the Queen of England, or I don't know, whoever that you're the guy that these people seek out. And so to be able to meet you in person as a longtime admirer and now becoming friends, it's just such an honor, and I'm super excited. So for those that in the audience that don't know you or of your history in Molina, give us a little bit about kind of just you and your business.
Well, first of all, our family started in 1634 as silversmiths, and then from there they went to Spain, and from Spain they went to Cuba. My father was in the jewelry business from the age of 8 to the age of 25. My grandfather was from the old world kind of situation. You have to work harder than anyone has to, and basically he believed that good character was with iron and fire. So my grandfather put me to work on March 2nd of 1967. I arrived in Chicago in January of 67, and just 2 months later, Grandpa decided that it was my time to learn the trade. So I didn't have much of a chance, Jeremy, but I did.
It's 11. Would you say 11 generations of jewelers?
Yes.
There's not a CPA or an attorney in there anywhere, right?
Well, the oldest grandson had to be the guy, and so I didn't think it was such a great idea. No basketball, no baseball, no football, no nothing. Just went to school, got picked up at school. I worked with my grandfather maybe 5, 6, 7 hours a day, and then went home and had dinner and did my homework, and the whole cycle started over and over again. And so, grandfather was an incredible guy, but really, I obviously you're not prepared at the age of 8, I thought, but he basically made sure that he kept telling me that it was never good enough. So that's something that made me strong. Never give up, never surrender, Jeremy.
Yeah, the relentless pursuit of perfection. So, right?
Absolutely.
So you have this legacy family, and so is it a family tradition or a cultural tradition that the eldest grandson kind of matures into that? Is that just how the family is done?
Well, yes, and I think that that had a lot to do with the 17th century, 18th century. If your the oldest grandson was always the one that had to take the ability to do the trade, and so the other family members, I mean, my older brother or my younger brother, they had no interest in it, so he became interested in different things, but I mean, I think that the key factor was you have to do this. I mean, this is something that has been done for, as you said, 11 generations. And I got to tell you that I really didn't care for it at all as at the age of 8. At the age of 10, 2 years later, my grandfather gave me a bin of gold, and I said, Grandpa, what do you want me to do with this bin of gold? He says, play with it, play with it. And so I really understood the concept of gold being some sort of a electrical current in your body, and it did. And that's when I decided that, hey, it wasn't all that bad to be in the jewelry business.
Sure. I don't know anyone else personally that their grandfather has given them a bin of gold. I'm gonna have to take that up with my family, right? So, and hopefully, I'm not sure if my kids and grandkids are gonna listen to this, but we'll have to talk about that bin of gold. So,
Sure.
So some things that I had read is that you have this historic legacy family. It is that for generations has been passing this down, and so originally from Spain into Cuba, and then while your family, your grandfather and your father, and you were born in Cuba, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. March 2nd of 1959.
Wonderful. But as the family was growing, obviously there was, I'd read that your family had done well, right? But obviously in the 50s and the 60s in Cuba, this is a volatile time, right? And so is that what was the kind of impetus to leave Cuba and move to the U.S.?
No, absolutely. There were 125 men, wealthy people, the business people that basically supported Castro. And then when Castro was actually became a communist, Che Guevara basically shot most of these people that were actually supported because they were powerful people. They needed to be removed. And my father, for sheer luck, had a great friend from grammar school, and he was actually saved and put in incarceration from 1959 to 1965. And we actually were able to leave in 1967, but it took several years for family members that were actually American citizens in Chicago, and that's how we ended up in Chicago. But
Wow.
it was issue. The issue obviously was that the U.S. would not give Castro arms and soldiers, and of course he was denied. And then he went to the USSR and became a Russian and became a communist apparently, and was given arms and missiles and all kinds of things. Then that's a long story, but it really was very difficult for us to leave the country.
Well, and so when for those of you listening that don't understand, like the nationalization there, and I have some friends that this has happened to that were in East Africa, that were in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania at the time that this was happening, and the family store of wealth, right? The restaurants and hotels and real estate assets and businesses and anything else, like you don't get the privilege of taking that with you, right? So is this almost a starting over for the family when you guys left and came to the U.S.?
Well, my father, it was definitely a new beginning. He had 3 hotels, 8 restaurants, and 2 casinos in Cuba. And when we arrived in Chicago, we came with nothing except the clothing that we were wearing. You were not allowed to even take $1 and put it in your pocket. They would beat you up if you did that. And he got a job as a pipe cutter in a factory. He basically had to use emery paper and remove the needles that were being cut when they were threading the galvanized pipe. And my father would come home every day with needles or basically bleeding fingers because of that. And that was from 7 to 3 in a factory. And then from 4 to midnight, he was a janitor at Northwestern University. And that's what he did for 39 years.
Wow. It is it's hard not to respect somebody it is that going from the life it is that you had to starting over here. And, but what doesn't change is the responsibilities of your family, right? You still have to put food on the table. You still have to lead and take care of your wife and your children and those kinds of things. So I would imagine you had a tremendous amount of respect for your father for doing that. So.
Extremely. Both my grandfather and my grandfather and my father were basically great mentors of mine. And I had an uncle as well. So, I mean, the Uncle Robert basically was just like grandfather and just like father. They were both all tough.
All tough. I love it. So, with the generational business that's been in the, jewelry and silversmiths for, more than you got fingers and toes, 11 generations back, right? Well, I guess not more than fingers and toes, but you know what I mean, right? So, 11, maybe, I don't know how many fingers and toes you got, right? But, for 11 generations back, I mean, there's this legacy there that is just, it's inspiring, right? It's inspiring to be able to trace and have something back like that. It is that you can point to and be proud of, which is just, honestly, that's just exceptional. And so moving into and starting over into the jewelry business again, with working with your grandfather in Chicago, how did that move from growing up and perfecting this craft, and why did you leave Chicago and come to Arizona?
Well, again, I'm on March 2nd of 1967, it was my 8th birthday, and I worked for my grandfather until till I was 17. So I was 17 years. I was with my grandfather for 8 years, and then my uncle took over, and until 1980, and then I came to Phoenix to help him move, and I really liked Arizona for several reasons. One, my mother had decided on a girl that she wanted to my wife to be my wife, and I loved my mother very much. I said, "Mom, I love you, but I don't want to be married to you." So I decided to come to Phoenix, and I never went back home. And I went into a partnership with a jeweler here in 1987. October of 1987, I decided that I had to change what I was doing. And I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-week-old, and I had $1,500 in my name, and I owed $110,000. So I had a negative $108,500 on October 10th of 1987 when I opened a store under the family name. And basically on October 19th, Tuesday, Black Tuesday, obviously the market crashed, and so I had no inventory, no money, and I ended up basically between October 10th of 1987 and 12/31/1987, I did about $1 million in sales with no inventory, with no money, and just simply an office of one and one telephone.
So so there's more to unpack there. I think one of the things it is for people, and so a large portion of our audience is business owners and entrepreneurs and guys on the journey, and from guys that have made it and guys that are still on the path. I think so many people think that you have to have every little thing figured out before you start, and so there's so much here to just committing, right? Like, and so for you, perfect time, Black Tuesday, right? The fall of the market, perfect time it is for you to say, great, I'm going to go into the jewelry business and serve ultra high-end clients when most of them just lost a hell of a lot of money. Perfect timing on your part, by the way, right? So with no inventory, a negative net worth, and a telephone in Phoenix, how do you go from nothing backwards to a quick fast forward in just a few months and beginning to build a name for yourself? How did that start?
Well, I went to a store, that furniture store that was a client of mine, and I said, "Look, I don't have any money, but I need two offices and a conference room." And he said, "Okay, Al, just take whatever you want, and you can pay me in 90 days." So I spent $64,000 in furniture without a penny, and ended up basically got a phone system. I had a small little office that I was renting, and I went up to one of the drawers that it was, and here was a very, very old telephone service system. And the guy said, "Here, I'll take it. Give me $25." So I had a $25 phone, and that was really the only connections that I had. So I would make a list every evening. I would make a list of of 25 people that I was going to call that day, and that's how I actually started getting people to come in to see me. Of course, I always asked them, exactly what it is that you would like. If you want a diamond, you want earrings, and I would have a whole conversation of asking exactly what their desires were, and so I would have to buy myself some time. So if they said, "Al, can I come by and see you tomorrow?" I would say, "No, I'm so sorry, Jeremy. I have about a week completely taken out. So can we do it next week?" And then I would obviously find the jewels and the right proper item, and to make sure that everything was just as it should be. And so I would select three pieces, and they would come into the office, and they would obviously have all the options that they were looking for, and the quality, and how, and the different shapes, and so on. And the word on the street was, if you want to see real inventory, go see Molina. Well, Molina didn't have any inventory, but it looked good.
Love it. Love it. It is, it again goes back to the thing of just being committed, right? And so you start to develop this reputation, right? Because there's this, not mystique necessarily, but hey, I want to come see you. Can I see you tomorrow? I'm sorry, I'm booked, and I can see you next week. And in that world, I mean, you start how you start, right? Like I think everybody is concerned with starting or growing or doing and thinking that everything has to be perfect and you have to have all the answers and it's got to be pretty, but the experience it is that they have in the inventory today, right? Your story 20, 30 years later is different than what it was 30 years ago, right? It's like so many people want to start close to the finish line because it's not fun to have to put in the work, right?
Sure, absolutely. No, in October 1987, I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-week-old. So I mean, there's lots of people out there that want to have children, but they want to have the house, they want to have the cars, they want to have the bank account. I think we just have to make it happen. My life philosophies are everything happens for a good reason. You never know that sometimes the biggest challenges that you have in life are the greatest abilities to actually grow and improve. Nothing has any meaning except the meaning I give it. I mean, what's good, what's bad, Jeremy? We never know what the outcome is going to be, but we have to make it an outcome. That's the key factor, I think. And on the other side of tremendous frustration is tremendous success. Well, I have a little one that a good friend of mine told me many years ago. Adversity is my angel.
Absolutely.
It's an angel. And we just have to keep going. But you're absolutely correct. And especially today, the young people today, and I have a 21-year-old daughter. They basically are free people. I mean, they don't want to basically be tied to a business or tied to a career or tied to a home, and it's really challenging because they just don't have the desire that we had 5 generations ago, 10 generations ago. You know, the, I think it's quite interesting that we have to make sure that these young people understand that you have to work for a living, that you have to work hard and give everything you have, because that comes from the heart and the desire.
Agreed. So is it, so in these starting, I mean, so number one, margins in the jewelry business can be okay, but selling them, or better than okay. But creating $1 million business in 3 months, 30 plus years ago, right? So that was a hell of a good start for you, right? So I was gonna get behind the fact, okay, you're new and young and handsome and married, and you got 3 babies, and you got a wife that's betting on you to do good things and bring home the bacon, right? And you got a negative net worth and this kind of thing. So is that the motivation for you back then? It was like, hey, if this doesn't work, I don't eat, or what was driving that at the time?
Yeah, I think that the first thing that made me drive was the birth of my daughter. I was willing to take all the risk in the world to make things happen for my child, and she really changed the whole concept, I think, for all of us, and I think that that's something that a lot of men probably have experienced. The second trigger was that my partner embezzled money in October, the first week of October, 1987, and I decided it was time for me to go. And I knew that I was going to have hard times, but I also knew that I would never give up and never surrender. And that's exactly how I became who I am today. And that is, there are always challenges, but challenges basically are the best way that we learn, because you have to do it. I also have had a lot of mentors. I think one of the greatest things for young people today is to find someone that is at least 15 years older than they are, and basically ask questions and talk to these people, because but of course, as in our generation, nobody talks to each other. They make phone calls and they look at each other across the table, and they're texting each other.
Right.
But I think that that's one of the things that I am concerned about as far as the human race, because if we become robots, there's really no heart in it. It's simply a technology.
Yeah, it is. There is. It's funny, because when you talk to my children or your children's friends and that kind of thing, and they say, "Oh, I talked to so and so today." Oh, really? What'd they say? Like, do you talk to them? Well, talk is text. Well, text is not talking. Talking is talking. It's that familial relationship it is that you develop. That's hard to do over text. So I'm with you on that. I certainly am with you on that. So early on, like, did you have an idea when you started this of what you wanted this to become? Like, what was motivating you to do this? Was there like someone that you were chasing? Did you have an ideal that said, I want to create something that looks like this, or I see so and so that's done that, and that's what I want this to be? Or how was this all coming together?
Well, one of my mentors was Harry Winston, my grandfather's best friend. And my grandfather basically sold the Bacardi Ruby to Harry Winston. They were good friends, and so I had the opportunity to meet Harry Winston on various occasions. And he was a man that believed that you have to basically do the best you can be, and he was a great mentor. He would basically talked about how he succeeded, and some of the things that he did. He was a man of passion, tremendous passion, and I think that that's really probably where my feelings are is that we have to have passion, because if you don't have passion, you basically can't transmit that to the person that's in front of you. And so for me, I'm very clear and concise that my job is not. I'm not in the jewelry business. I'm in the emotional business. So I talk to people from the heart. I don't talk to people from my pocketbook.
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing. The pocketbook basically means nothing to me, and because of that, I've been very successful financially. And again, and it doesn't mean that I haven't had challenges, because we all had challenges, and we got to keep going and overcoming whatever challenges we have. And I think the key factor is never give up, never surrender, because the truth is that no matter how challenging your life is, it will change as long as you keep it going.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I think so. Number one, Harry Winston obviously has a world-class reputation, and that's another house it is that's fantastic. And so if there is number one, when you're talking just a few minutes ago about having the importance of mentors and the importance of, having somebody that's a little bit further down the path or a little bit further down the road, it is that, can provide guidance there, leadership there is critical. And that is not something that can be done over text or over, email or whatever else, right? That relationship there is critical and foundational.
You know that, Jeremy, something that's very interesting about Harry Winston is that I bought Black Star & Frost 20 years ago. And, Black Star & Frost basically purchased the Lucky Baldwin Ruby for $100,000 in 1931. In 1931, Harry Winston was going door to door as a jewelry salesperson. I mean, he was selling jewels. And in 1932, with the proceeds of the $100,000 in 1931, he started Harry Winston's Jewelers. Now, tell me that that's not, a great story.
Exactly. So let's talk about that. For those that don't know, now Black Star & Frost is the oldest jeweler in the U.S. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so this is early 18. I mean, this is 200 years old or something.
Oh yes, well, yeah. Actually, so the company, which was at that time not called Black Star & Frost, because unlike today, I mean, every time somebody comes into the company, they put up their names. So the family, it was from Savannah, Georgia, and they started in 1723. In 1810, a gentleman by the name of Black basically became an apprentice, and that's in New York. So in New York in 1810, Robert Clifford Black basically became an apprentice, and that's the number they used the 1810 number. But the truth of the matter is that the company started in 1723, and they were the first to use plate glass windows, thereby inventing window shopping. They were the first to use the American Eagle as a company logo. They were the first to make the first class ring for West Point in 1837, and they built the first fireproof building in New York. They invented the safe deposit box system, and I can just continue. We can talk about this for hours and hours and hours, because this company, where the doers and the go-getters, and they created all kinds of things. There, I have in my office, I have a medal that basically was made by Black Star & Frost in 1863, and it had the 13 colonies as far as the stars, and that was basically made by Black Star & Frost. And so there's just a great historical company, and they did all kinds of great things. And here it is, a poor little Cuban boy basically that represent. And by the way, I say represent because a company like that can't be owned because it has so much historical value that came long before me, and it has nothing. And I have great respect for that brand.
And so how does that fit into Molina as a whole, right? So Molina and kind of your flagship salon, which is in Scottsdale or Paradise Valley, right, area. And
yes,
then,
very, it's got Scottsdale, and I mean, for us, or for me, I guess, would be the fact that Molina it has a great history, but that history basically started in 1967. So for me, I wanted to basically be able to bring back to the American quality a brand that basically represented America, and for that
wow.
I'm very very happy and very supportive of making sure that brand continues the great history of Black Star and Frost.
Well, when we saw each other, so I have on my desk with me every day by my phone, and I take it with me, my Black Star and Frost medallion coin that you gave me. So again, for me, I think it increases my cool factor just a little bit. I just can't tell the story as good as you can. So, so as the business is growing, was there there's a point for everybody in your story that you get past the phase of survival, right? There's Maslow's hierarchy of needs from where it's survival to success to stability to significance, right? And you are certainly have gotten to the top of that pyramid, but moving from survival and starting the business and feeding the family to having some success, was there a point in time to where it is that you kind of said, okay, this is actually working, right? This is not hand to mouth anymore. Our business is actually working, and now I can grow the business. Do you remember anything sticking out there that was critical, or that was just, okay, we've put our name on the map?
Well, one of the things I think that happens in our business, your business, my business, everybody's business, is that we always have to basically recreate ourselves in a certain position. In other words, we cannot stay still, because if you're looking at the same product every time and you haven't created anything that actually moves us to the next level, it's very challenging. When you, for example, we have flown jewels to different countries or to a wedding because something happened, and we had to obviously do whatever we needed to do to make sure that wedding was going to be a happy wedding. And so for us, whatever level of position that we have created as Molina or as Black Star and Frost, the next evolution has to keep going up and up and up. So we have to obviously do more and do it better, and we have to basically exceed their expectations. And that's the philosophy that I have. We have people that have come to us, and they have a heirloom, and nobody in the world wants to touch it because it's a challenging situation to be able to create this product without taking the risk. But you have to be a risk taker, and you have to basically always remember that whatever you did for somebody yesterday is going to be different for tomorrow. And so you have to always basically meet their expectations, and you always have to, as I said, the word passion is probably my favorite thing, because I'm passionate about everything. People come into our store. If something happened to something that we made, we will remake it, or we will repair it, or we will do whatever we have to do to make sure that person, that my boss, because I'm not the boss. The boss is a person across from me that basically is providing an opportunity for me to do something for them. And I think that's really the major thing for me is that, I mean, challenges are there, but you have to always go up one point up. You got to keep going every time that you can to make people feel more important, to make people feel happy, and to obviously provide what I believe is the future pieces for the rest of the families that they have, and that's important.
Agreed. Well, and so there is something about the an exact question I was going to ask, and you did a great job of answering and kind of going that way before I even thought, is really in a for Molina, you guys you're creating legacy generational pieces. This is not a run of the mill retail jewelry outfit, right? Like, so I had read recently that you had sold kind of a historic piece. You sold a diamond for 21 or 22 million dollars, like in the last something. Like, this is right. So for all of you that are, I look at these things, and so the brand experience that you create for people who can choose to vote with their dollars, candidly, anywhere in the world, are choosing to do so with you, and that's because of that relationship and because of the experience and the service it is that you give.
No, I must say that I was very very blessed because I was succeeding in a very high end position. We were doing probably we were in the top three jewelers in the country in reference to our sales, and I had the opportunity to purchase the Archduke Joseph diamond. The stone had 76 carats diamond, belonged to His Royal Highness the Archduke Joseph, who would have been the emperor. His brother was shot in 1918, and that stone basically is the finest decolor, flawless diamond in the world. It was truly an honor to be able to be someone that could own the stone and sell it to the Queen of Qatar. But it's like a child. I mean, it's like you're having a child and passing it on. And I think that actually was extremely important for us to get to a different level. And the way that I would do that is when a young lady would walk in and she would like to sit down and work with us on whatever it was, I would always take the diamond, who was actually in a pendant, and I would take a photograph for her, and she would have that. She would have that forever. As a matter of fact, when I purchased the stone, we hired people to dress in the 17th century, the way the royals would, and take a paper, parchment paper, and it would deliver an invitation to a lot of our high-end clients all over the country to come and view the Archduke Joseph, and I mean, there's a lot of ladies that will tell you some great stories. As a matter of fact, the one of the ladies that basically opened the door was in her garden, and she had mud all over her feet and all over her knees, and the gentleman, these were actually actors, and he knocked on the door and said, "I'm here to see Mrs. So and so." And she goes, well, Mrs. So-and-so is not here, but I'll be happy to take the invitation. and so when the event was, there was a beautiful event. I mean, very, very, very interesting event. And so she came over and said, Miss Molina, I want you to know that that young, beautiful man that was dressed in a beautiful outfit from the 17th, 18th century, she says, I was full of mud, but I want to tell you that thank you for inviting me.
So it's extraordinary to me that, extraordinary to me that these pieces like this exist and change hands, what, once in a generation, maybe, right? Like, so
Yes, sir.
this was a piece from, what do you say, roughly 100 years ago, right? 1910
Oh,
or
yeah,
1918
yeah. Well,
or something.
so the stones the diamond is from Golconda. It's a Golconda mine, one of the finest mines in the world, and very rare. And that stone was probably could have been as back as 200 or 300 BC. So so that the mine actually was destroyed, was completely utilized, and so there hasn't been a stone of that quality for 200, 300 years. So
That's amazing.
not bad, huh, Jeremy? Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad for a little Cuban boy, right?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. But so I can't imagine opportunities come like that, to run of the mill, right? These and you've had several of those. Like, I've seen some of the unique pieces it is that you guys have developed and created that have been, that take years it is to source and kind of assemble and put together and make available. I mean, this is not something that you decide on Tuesday that's for sale on, Friday, right? This could take, 10 years just for the privilege of having something to become available, right?
And no, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we have the Empress necklace that it took 30 years, a little over 30 years, to basically collect the stones, because you have a quality of a stone that basically has to be the finest available, and so we reject. We out of for not so long ago, I must say that there's not enough gems that are available today as they were maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago. But for us, we have to basically take time to create what my clients desire, and what they desire are one of a kind pieces. And it takes 30 years or 20 years or 15 years to basically be able to find gemstones that are basically of the quality and of the color and clarity and all those things that are extremely important. And the stone cannot be treated in any way, shape, or form. The majority of gems today, are heat treated, which basically diminishes the value of the stone.
Right. Yes. So, and for everybody, regardless of their business, I think that one of the reasons it is that you get these opportunities is because of your, kind of where we started, right? The commitment
Sure.
to that pursuit of perfection and excellence in everything it is that you do. And regardless of whether it is that you're in the jewelry business or the finance business, or you sell, the best latte there is in Seattle, whatever it is that you do, it's that commitment to the craft, and the commitment to creating a fantastic experience for those people that are your patrons, that really contribute to that long-term success, right?
No, absolutely. I'm not just their jeweler. I'm their friend. I'm there to support them. I have 15 bodyguards that are military, SEALs, special forces, and sometimes when there is an issue with the family, it's not uncommon for me to send 2 or 3 of my bodyguards to be there and to make sure that everything is being done properly, and there's nothing that's been because sometimes you never know what you have to do. But I'm just as I said, I mean, my life is about values. It's about doing the right thing and helping one another, and I truly believe that we have to honor our heritage. That my name is everything. My grandfather always said, honor our heritage, and that's really what we do. But we're not just someone that is selling a client a piece of jewelry. It's somebody that basically is coming to us, and they are who we want them to be, which is somebody that we can serve, and we are servers. That's what we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is the business today? So 30 years ago, with what $64,000 of furniture that you had to borrow at the time and get terms on, and a $25 phone. Fast, looking then of I can see you next week. Looking at Al then to Al today, is the business today what you hoped it would become?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm very blessed, and I have to tell you that it's not a one man operation. Everyone that works with me has been with me for many, many years, 30 years, 25 years, 28 years. And my philosophy is, this is my family here. Molina Fine Jewelers is a family. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing that we can do for each other.
That's fabulous. So, one of the things it is that I know that is important to you. And so, a lot of whatever people's journeys are, right? I mean, there's the part of this that is that you want for yourself and for your family, right? You want to be able to take care of your wife and your kids and your family, but once that's kind of out of the way, right? Your success doesn't have limitations necessarily, but there's only so much you can do, right? You can only have so many nice houses or cars or watches or whatever is important to, whatever is important to whoever is listening, right? But one of the things that I so appreciate about you is, from the start, how much the air of contribution and charity and philanthropy has been important to you. And so I had read something that was astonishing, that you guys support like 150 or 160 charities. Is that right?
That was that's when I received I was at that time I was serving 167 charities, and that was Mother Teresa actually gave me the National Caring Award in the Hall of Fame for Caring Americans, and that was in 2005. Today we support 315 charities, and I must tell you that the way we started it was we actually had a little event. We had little events, and people would bring in toys for tots. That's how we started, is giving children toys for tots during the holiday season. And we've been able to basically donate. It's been challenging, as you know, for all of us, but I don't mind basically making sure that people are able to eat and have shelter, and so that to me is very important as well.
That's incredible. Now, are you doing these individually? Do you have a family foundation or anything like that?
Well, we had a family foundation, but we gave away all the money. So the answer is so we have a group that basically makes the decisions, and then when those if a decision is made that we are not going to fund the need of others, I write the checks out of my pocketbook.
Yeah. Well, it's above all else, the success and the brand that you've created will be long-standing. The value, the value it is that you're having it is in the community and contributing to other people is, we could do a whole nother episode on that. I applaud you. I applaud you on that. I don't know how with 300 charities, I don't know how you actually get any work done.
Well, I mean, as I said, I love people, and I think the greatest gift, Jeremy, that I've ever had was the fact that from a wealthy family to a janitor and a worker of cutting pipe, it probably made me who I am, because I know what it feels like to have one egg a day, which is what we had when we arrived in Chicago, and terrible hospital. I mean, a terrible hotel. It was the Wilson Hotel. Was actually, you would sit down and a puff of smoke would come out of the bed and everything else. So I can only tell you that the greatest lesson that I actually have is that, if I see someone in need, I always, and it doesn't matter to me about the money, and I have people that tell me, Al, don't give people cash and on the street. I said, why not? Well, because maybe they're going to drink, or maybe they're going to do this, or maybe they're going to do that. I said, that's not for me to establish what they can and can't do. It's what I can do that matters.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So a couple last questions as we wrap up. So for you, with not only your own success, but the people and families it is that you've worked with and alongside for years and years, what does real success look like, or what does real success mean to you?
Well, I think my success is the fact that I've made life better for many.
Perfectly said. I love that. Two last things. Today, I think it is that maybe you're the mentor that's 15 years ahead of somebody else. And so if you were to look back at Al 20 years ago, what advice would you give yourself 10 or 20 years ago? What would you say?
Well, there's a couple of books that I would tell people. I mean, first of all, there's a little book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Great book.
Probably one of the finest books ever, and I think it's a book that someone has to read at least 10 to 15 to 20 times to really understand that whatever the mind can perceive, the mind can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little book called Rhinoceros Success. It's all about how to live as a rhino. Remember, rhinos only go forward. They never go sideways. They never go back. They always go forward. And it's a great little book. It's a great little book. It's one of my favorite. I've given away. When I saw this book back in late 1980s, a friend of mine gave it to me. And I loved the book so much that I wanted to buy books and give them to kids and give them to schools and give them to people on the street. And so I tried to go buy those books, and the books that were no longer available. And so I actually had somebody find out the owner of this book, and I did. And I called him and I said, listen, I'm trying to buy your books, but I can't find them. So they're not. He says, well, Mr. Molina, they're not. We're not publishing him. I said, well, what does it take to publish him? He says 1,500 books. I said, okay, where do I send the check?
Oh my God,
they're selling books like they've been selling them, and I buy them 200-300 at a time. So it's a great little book. As a matter of fact, Jeremy, I'm going to send it to you. So
I can't wait.
I'll send you the book. You'll like it. Not only do I send you a book, I send you a little rhino, because the book says, hey, just remember, you're a rhino. And put it on your desk next to that a challenge coin. And actually, a challenge coin, you'll have to wear it.
You got it. I will. I can't wait. Oh, that's fabulous. So, actually, I have another question for you. So, when we were there. I get to meet your beautiful wife, and she had got you the coolest guayabera that I've ever seen. Did you ever wear that fancy guayabera with a bird on it, or whatever Renee bought?
we just got home. We just got home from San Miguel de Allende in Mexico. We just got home a couple of days ago, and yes, I was wearing guayaberas, but you do realize that the ones that she actually ordered were very, very Italian or what, very small, and I couldn't wear them.
They're not going to fit
So
you. Yeah, I get
they
it.
they didn't fit me. So I actually had the ones that I wore before. So, but I won't tell her that I told you so.
No, and that's not at all. Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, my friend, I cannot thank you enough for.
No, listen. What a pleasure, Jeremy. What a pleasure. If there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate. Give me a jingle. You have my cell, and I'll be there for you at all times.
Thank you. So for those that want to reach out to you or learn more about you, where is the best place for them to find out more information about you?
Well, I mean, first of all, the phone number at the office is 602-955-2055. The address is 3134 East Camelback Road, Phoenix, Arizona 85016. My email is ajmolina@finejeweler.com. And any questions that they have will be answered as quickly as possible.
That's perfect. Well, my friend, your friendship is a blessing, and I'm so excited to get to know you and spend more time with you, and have our wives order guayaberas that we're embarrassed to wear. I won't tell anybody, I promise you. My grandfather said, always laugh at yourself. That's the greatest fun that you can have. All right, Jeremy. Well, listen, thank you for the time and talent and the ability to talk to you, and I really enjoy the time. I really do. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. Thanks for the time, my friend. Be well.
Likewise. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening today. This has been the Jeremy B. Hill Show. If you liked today's episode, go on and give us a 5-star review. Not 4, but 5. And even more importantly, share it with somebody else. This is Jeremy B. Hill. Your success is waiting for you, but it's not going to wait forever. Go get it.